This is a recording of October 28th, where I traded my Apex live account, showing you guys the market profile of the day. Here, I try to always give that context to make sure that even if it's my own recordings, this way it's easier to remember what kind of market we had, what was the context of the last day and the overnight. So on the left I have net Nasdaq footprint. On the right it's ES footprint. I generally keep 15-minute footprints for Nasdaq and 30 minutes for ES just to kind of reflect the market profile time frame. As the market's going to open within a couple of minutes here, if I can maybe just scroll through the video quickly. Alright, so there's 2 minutes to open up here. You're going to notice that it was a pretty busy day for me. Did a lot of trades. So as the market opens, I generally look out for, where the heavy volume is traded at the open. Obviously, Nasdaq will be flying all over the place. So ES gave us a nice little bulge around 45.61. As you can see, there's a nice high volume node there. I remember well, I kind of didn't start off the day right off with a lot of trades. I think after the first 5 minutes I started trading, so I'm just going to let the video running, and this way you guys are able to kind of validate and see how the market opens and on a dome, how things are. Nasdaq is all over the place, obviously. So look at how Nasdaq breaks the lows and then just flies back and then comes back to retest those lows again. It's just the way it's building volume. It's really indicative of crazy momentum, basically. ES rejecting the 45.63s. Look how Nasdaq just got red into with some momentum. It was just into the lows basically here. Breaking the lows with no real conviction, as you can see. So I kind of missed all this at the beginning, and then within a couple of minutes I should get some trades coming in now. So they're really running through the bids here, and I mean there's no real stacking on the offer. It's just now they're getting the job done here. Nice little push from the buyers on Nasdaq. ES is coming back to that initial high volume node that was created at the, I mean, what was it? The first 5 minutes probably. Really, sellers are in control here under 15,650. They're really on a mission to make the market go lower. But now we start to get some stops, as you see on the tape there on Nasdaq. We're back above 15,650. And below again. So really, that was clearly just a stop run. So I'm just going to show you guys here in a couple minutes the market profile of the opening. I basically didn't trade the first 5-10 minutes here. It took me some time to kind of evaluate what I wanted to do. And here's the market profile. So basically, as you can see, Nasdaq came right into the low volume node of that double distribution we had in the overnight. And ES is actually trading above the overnight high. So Nasdaq was a bit volatile in the first 10 minutes here, but we're going to advance about just a bit here on the, as there was a Chicago PMI news as well. So I just wanted to let the news go through within the next, there was news at 9:45 and then there was news at 10. So I was just taking it a bit slowly this day, and then we're gonna get to the trades right after. So here on the ES volume profile, there was a huge absorption here on the 45.63s, and the market just basically moved higher from there. So basically when I'm trading, I always kind of look at the correlations to see what ES is doing. As Nasdaq, I mean, you'll see the absorptions on the volume profile with the footprint that I have on the inside trades here. It's just sometimes with Nasdaq, it's so quick that look at it move now, right? It's like all over the place, and it's basically doing a new high here on ES. So I mean, unless you are already long with this. And this is because there was news at 9:45, and look how it moved. Like, what is it? Almost like 10 points higher, and then we're coming back down. So with the news on Nasdaq, it's really tough to really have a good handle or feeling for where to put your orders, because it's pretty fast and pretty wild. I generally look at how the big big orders are kind of appearing on the depth, how far they are. This kind of tells me how much room I have to give my orders when I want to be filled. And it's all about how the market approaches my entry. If I don't get filled on the first or second, worst case second attempt, you need to really manage those orders, because or else it's gonna just run through you. These are like little nuances on the dome with Nasdaq that really make the difference. Alright, so here I'm looking at how far the big orders are on the depth of Nasdaq, just to have an idea of how far I want to trade. Also how it's rotating, from one price to another. And here's my entry. So it went a bit against me there. And then here I get a nice little $20 scalp. I generally just kind of do those little scalps at the beginning just to give myself, it's kind of like the routine drill kind of thing. So not always looking for like 10-point moves on Nasdaq, because look, it's generally rotating within a certain number of points, and you want to be in and out and kind of take the easy money. And if you get a runner once in a while, no problem. We'll gladly try to get and squeeze the most out of that. So we're in the upper distribution of ES here, where it's having a hard time getting through, the 73 level here. So I'm kind of watching that on Nasdaq, and I just want to see if ES kind of fails here. That could kind of bring in some momentum between the intermarket, correlations. As you can see, we just saw a huge dump of stops on Nasdaq at that level on the tape. It was very clear. They got the stops, and it actually moved lower from thereafter. So in the first 30 minutes, ES gave us a double distribution with a nice little low volume node here, and now we're kind of hanging around that. So it's good to see that on a footprint here, as you can see. Hopping into our short here on Nasdaq, it was really one of the best trades of the day. Really got in with some momentum and scalped it out. And then here I did a error of execution, and I kind of gobbled around here, and I'm just trying to get some kind of a reaction to see how I could trade this. But I'm short bias here, but it's just not giving me my entries that I want. And I think we got a nice little trade out of this one here. I got scratched a couple of times, but yeah. And then here I got into some trouble, but I was able to get the long that I wanted. So I got into the beat where now it's all of a sudden the tape just turned red here on Nasdaq, and I was trying to look for a scalp long short, but I had to pull that order away, and now here I'm scalping alongside. And what I'm doing is I'm putting my long orders and also the orders to get out, so that I could easily scalp 20, 30, 40 bucks out of these trades. Look how far out I am, right? I'm letting the market come to me. Didn't get filled on the first move, the first sweep, so I canceled that order. There I got too close to the market and canceled I'm just gonna stop at 2 seconds. I was like the market moved quickly, and I was not able to cancel the order, so I had a stop that was a bit more closer because I was noticing that the market's basically rotating within very tight ranges here. So I don't want to let the market come back to me too much here. So we'll let this one go through. I think it's going to be a small little scalp, and I think I scratched this trade actually. And then I went short side, but noticed that my stop was too close, and the market's got a bit more volatile here. So I'm kind of leaning on the short side with a nice little move here, and this is one that I got a nice little runner. And actually I scalped. Well, I scalped it out. It's just look. Sometimes you have to move your orders a bit faster in here. I already got some profit in this trade, so I'm trying to just scalp my way out of it here. I generally go in with 1 or 2 lots, and then if I can get another 1 or 2 runners, and this one, it just doesn't want to go through, so I'm willing to scratch it a bit faster. These were mostly the trades of the day here on the funded account with FX. So, I mean, look, there's some good winners in there. Some little small scratches and some losses. And now here I'm trying to get the long again because we've got an imbalance to the long side. Look, I just scalped quickly a long position there. I mean, 15, 20, 40 bucks on NASDAQ with this kind of environment, you could easily get, easy rotations. Here I'm kind of short bias because now we've got an imbalance to the short side on NASDAQ. Very clear that the market wants to actually move lower. Here I do a stupid execution error, and as you can see, I took the loss on that one, and then kind of scalped my way out of it, and we were able to recuperate the loss that I had on that first, and I'm showing it to you on the P&L on the right side here. Look at how they're moving. The stacking on the depth is really clear, and I've been adding the snapshot meter. That's been giving me some good readings, especially when it's clear breakouts or breakdowns. It's pretty obvious what they do around the dome here. I don't know why, but I made an error by putting a buy order at the top, and then I legged in here. I'm looking at the tape at the same time, and there's nothing that's flashing to me so I'm able to really visualize what the depth is doing, and then at the same time, when I'm in a trade, I kind of have that tape analysis quickly on my left here. I find that putting the tape on my left has made the difference. I'm having a hard time with my right eye, so those are little nuances. You see, I'm scalping away quickly, in and out, watching what the tape's doing at that same time. The fact that it's not really one-sided dominantly is a good factor to be able to scalp. And then at the same time, I'm seeing the price on ES, and having the dome centered tells me that ES isn't really moving much lower either. So I'm constantly looking at, and I'm showing to you guys at the same time, how the depth is always constantly moving around on NASDAQ, where the big lots are kind of positioning themselves and everything. This kind of gives me a good feeling of how far I have to go in with my orders. I don't want to be too close to the bid and ask spread, but I don't want to be too far either. So it's a good way to monitor. And look how they're stacking now on the bids here. It's very obvious the way I colored it on my depth now. So I highlight like the 11 plus or the 10 plus orders on the bid or on the ask. This way I'm easily able to see what they're doing. And now, quickly, if you guys noticed how on the ask side there's tremendous stacking that just occurred. So that kind of gives me quick indications of if I'm in a trade, I want to see how I could scratch that trade faster. And looking at the tape being pretty mixed gives me a good conviction as well. And on the left side with the footprint here, we're noticing how we're basically in some kind of a range compared to the previous 15-minute rotation as well, but slightly biased to the short side because on NASDAQ we've got a pretty good negative delta just on the 15,662. Obviously, this could always shift, but it gives you a quick, visual way to. And now we're gonna get some stops because we had a lot of sellers below 15,662, which did not get what they wanted. So we got on the table, it was very clear we had a nice little stop run. Now positioned at 675 where there's a passive seller. I mean, you wanna either target that guy or you want to see if he's able to hold the market. And it's obvious that this market is kind of jammed between 660 and 670 approximately on NASDAQ. So it was a pretty good day for quick momentum trades just to and again, this could change a bit every day on NASDAQ, but look at how the stops they're getting the stop runs, and we're going to most likely get a nice little squeeze here, and that's exactly what's happening here. So more and more you watch the tape and you record and you spend some time in front of the screen trying to trade a fast and thinner market like NASDAQ. It's totally different from ES, but it's very tradable, and you just have to know the rhythm, the velocity, how volatile it is. Like on my footprint here, I'm noticing how I have like the speed of the tape, how much volume is going through on a 15-second basis. These are little clues that tell me how to manage trades and kind of know the environment that I'm trading. Here I'm showing with my cursor, where I put the order in, and always have an idea of where the stacking and the bidding, stacking and is occurring on the bid and the ask. I canceled that order because the market kind of moved lower and never came towards my entry. So if you notice a market that's moving lower, and you've got an entry where it's not coming to you, you gotta have to give it a certain number of seconds or minutes just to kind of cancel that. I generally go with like a 30 to 45 second rule, because once you don't get filled within that time frame in NASDAQ, your trade's over. I mean, you're either going to get run through if you let the order stay there. So you gotta have to really fine tune your entries and notice where to put your orders in faster markets, or else you're always going to get into trades where it's going to hurt. Here we're going to have some nice order management examples. I'm looking to go short here at the 683s. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No, you see, didn't come to get me in the first or second move towards me, and I took the order away. I canceled it quickly. I'm trying to look to see if I could get an entry at 677s here, and the market's moving higher. Market's moving higher. Now I'm looking at how far the big orders are on the depth. I've got an order to sell there. I'm a bit too close, and again here got to me very slowly. Gotta cancel that. Here 684, way too close to the market, but man, I'm just not getting filled. So that's kind of like just too bad, because I can easily get 40 to 60 bucks out of these trades. It's just that I'm not getting filled. And when you don't get filled in the first or second swipe, now look at how the stacking is a lot faster on the bid side. I was a bit aggressive on the entry there, but I think this trade still has got some good legs to it. I put a buy stop there because I'm feeling that we're going to most likely run through that level, which is exactly what occurs. And that's where I basically got out of the trade for a nice little small little gain. But I mean, again, it was the idea of having a nice little move out of there with maybe 2 or 3 contracts. Could have easily been an $80 to $100 gain. But now I'm showing you guys how we've just cracked the initial balance high on ES. So I generally always like to show my market profile, market context to remember what's happening here as we're breaking the initial balance high on ES here. And just look at how we're breaking through here. So overall, it was a pretty good first hour for me. Made some good trades. Look, always have several losses, which I could easily explain. I mean, I had a couple of bad executions too. So, look, at the end of the day, it's about knowing when to scratch, knowing when to let at least one or two runners go through, and when that trade's not working, well, you just get out. So, I mean, for what, maybe 15 trades here. I mean, having what, maybe a 50% win rate, let's say. I mean, approximately, it's still not bad because you can't hit 100% or 80% all the time. But at the end of the day, I was able to read the volatility and the rotations pretty well for Nasdaq.